heartiest greeting to one and all present here. Today, I, Ritika, on behalf of Maestro Teaching Solution, wholeheartedly welcome you all here for our career counseling session, day 5, on the topic Study Abroad Good or Bad Decision, in association with Propel Overseas. Studying abroad is a decision that can shape your future unexpectedly. Today, we will explore the benefits and challenges of international education, helping you determine if it's the right path for you. Join us as we delve into this life changing opportunity and provide you with the insight needed to make an informed choice. Before beginning today's session, we would like to introduce ourselves as an educational service provider managed by a panel of experienced and eminent educationists with a cumulative experience of more than 10 decades. We cater to the individual needs of school, teachers, students, and parents by providing them with the best job opportunities. We requested to stay connected with us till the end of the session as a feedback form will be shared with you at the end. You are requested to fill out the form to mark your attendance. A certificate of participation will be issued based on that. So stay with us for an insightful session. Now I would like to welcome our resource person for the day, Mr. Sumit Saluja, founder and CEO Propel Overseas, which is an initiative to drive young Indians to start an international career in Europe. Sir has a strong vision of making students skilled in their area of interest and scientific approach, learn from the best school and learn to earn a livelihood in an industry that is stable in one of the most advanced and stable economies of the world, that is Germany. Sir, it's a matter of great honor and delight to welcome you on behalf of El Maestro Teaching Solution. Now, I requested Sir to take over the session and share his expertise with us.
Thank you, Poonam ma'am, and thank you the entire team of El Maestro for, first of all, giving me this opportunity to speak and share my views on one of another big tangent in the careers of students who are right now in the school stage, and that is about study overseas. That is studying outside India. Whether good or bad decision, that all depends on how we perceive it. So I welcome all students, counselors, parents who are all are logged in. And in this session, let's try to be make it a little more interactive so that you clarify your doubts as well. At the same time, seek information and knowledge which is useful, going to be useful for your present class for taking a better decision whether you go outside or whether you study here in India. So today, broadly, our topic is going to be on study overseas, good or bad decision. We are going to pull through certain major points. Few of them are what makes you eligible as a student to apply. Can I apply for scholarships? And what kind of scholarships? Then studying in India versus studying overseas. So a little bit of comparison there, looking at the pros and cons. Then overview on countries offering some study programs for Indian students, particularly how they perceive it, and advantages and disadvantages of studying overseas and career after studies. And finally, if there is something which is can be considered as also study plus work overseas. At the last, we will also try to focus, which is one of the very important things which has developed in the last few years, is there's a program which is in Germany, which offers you a study plus work kind of a format for all the plus two students. So I welcome you all. Let's start with the session. And I hope that with this session, you will be able to take away a lot of points which will be useful for you to not just make a good decision, but also to make a right choice in terms of your investment of time and the return over time and return over money invested once you consider this as a big decision turning around your educational career. So give me a moment and I'll start the presentation. The first part is going to be yes. Ritika, could you please confirm? Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Okay, thank you. So, study overseas, good or bad? Well, see, when you look at studying overseas, there has to be an objective before you make that decision. So, I have written a few lines over that studying overseas can be incredibly rewarding and transformative experience for many students. From immersing themselves in a new culture to gaining a global perspective, the benefits of international study can be profound. However, the decision to study abroad is not to be taken lightly. Why? Because there are both pros and cons to it. In this present presentation, we will explore the key factors to weigh when deciding whether studying overseas is the right choice or may not be the right choice for you right now. So broadly, when you look at the pros and cons, there are these are the in detail. If you see, these are the three bigger characteristics of pros. One is the cultural immersion, the cultural dimension in which we are, in which we can think while making the decision to go abroad. The second is how and to what level we can think of our own academic enrichment. And third, which is always working on you, is your personal growth, your personality development. When we talk about cultural, so studying abroad provides unparalleled opportunities to immerse oneself in a new culture, language, and way of life. Now that's very true. You're going to US, you're going to Canada, you're going to UK, you're going to Australia, you're going to New Zealand, all are English speaking countries. Culture is different. Culture is very, very high dominating. If you see, look at again, when I always like to talk about this, when you look at your history, English people have ruled on us. When you go to their country and study, they do and definitely have a different opinion about Indians, different opinion about how you are, taking education in their country. So there is a cultural mix which will happen for you and how you take it, how boldly you take it, how courageously you are able to face it. Now, it's that's why it is very clearly mentioned. It can lead to deeper appreciation for diversity and enhance communication skills. When we look at the academic front, we also see that international universities often offer unique courses, specialized programs. Now, when we say unique courses, yes, there are very unique courses. Because when we say unique, it doesn't mean something which is not heard of, but something which has been heard of but not being offered in India. One could be that, and the other is they are specialized programs. We always learn that if you, let's say, want to go for becoming a commercial pilot or a passenger aircraft pilot, you have to go and take sessions from flying hours from abroad. Why? Because they have trained and retrained the system in such a way that today that kind of a thing cannot be developed here in India. It hasn't been developed in here in India so much. It is a special program. Access to renowned professors that may not be available in one's home country. Yes, and that's very true. All of you know that. Even best of our institutions always invite guest lectures from professors abroad. And then, of course, comes the personal growth. So personal growth is very, very critical because when you're looking at going to a country and studying there, so you always look at that, can I really look at improving myself, not just improving my academic knowledge and academic growth, but we also look at overall personal growth, which is your attitude development, the way you are being, the learning system in India, your way of treating yourself and within the community. So independence, your problem solving skills, a greater sense of self confidence, and all that. And now the cons of studying overseas. So of course we look at homesickness, loneliness. It happens, but maybe for a little time, may not be always there. But it depends again on student to student. There is a pop up from a student. So voice is low. Okay, fine. I will make it a little more louder. So financial burden. So when we talk about financial burden, I would say it's more like yes, if you're taking a loan and going there, it's a big risk. Why it is risk? Because if you're looking at job and you have invested more than 50 lakhs, 1 crore, 2 crores, whatever you have, kind of loan and self-funded. it becomes a bit of burden on your parents, on yourself. And but there's no other way as of now, if you see that. So studying abroad can be significantly more expensive, much expensive. Third, language and cultural barriers. So language and cultural barriers, yes, it happens because when you go to an English speaking country to study, there are limited seats. If you go to a non-English speaking country, let's say you want to go and study in Europe, let's say in a country like France or Germany or Japan, you want to go to Asia Pacific in Japan or Hong Kong or Singapore. Singapore is English speaking, Hong Kong is English speaking, most of it. But then when you go to countries like, as I said, Germany, France, Switzerland, you find that there is a cultural barrier because of the language barrier. So language is important. You should study because the course can be delivered in English, but when you live in the community, you have to gel with them. You have to get integrated with them. This is a very important word which will make you understand everything. You have to integrate with their culture, integrate with their lifestyle, integrate with their professional environment, integrate with their learning environment, which is classroom environment. And for that, you have to learn the language because then they respect you, then they like you, they love you. Because they, अरे ये तो मेरी भाषा से क्या है, so you start, kind of gelling, they start gelling around with you. So that's why language and cultural barriers have to be broken. So disruption to career paths, yes, it happens that maybe the way you have been mentored and you have been kind of taken care of in terms of your academic pursuits, you always look at your parents that yes, they are giving you the right guidance and everything, but at the same time there may be that studying overseas may disrupt a student's career plans as the degrees or credits earned may not be fully recognized. Now, this always is, sir, यहाँ की डिग्री वहाँ वैलिड होगी, वहाँ से पढ़ के वापस इंडिया आ जाऊँ वो वैलिड होगा. Well, it may be, it may not be. The point is that if you get a college credit, it's good enough. So always secure enough information and then make a decision. This is very, very key. And even while securing, secure from at least 2 to 3 places, 2 to 3 good, educated, and I would not say renowned, but just good, educated, and well researched counselors. This is very important because then only you are able to make a sound decision about yourself. So now going forward from here, the next topic. So the eligibility to study abroad, which is the next topic. As it is written, to be considered for study abroad opportunities, student must meet specific academic and non-academic requirements set by most of the host institutions. See, actually, in India, when you look at which has been the historical importance that you have a college, you have a number of seats. If you are good enough in your academics, you sit in the exam. If you clear that exam, you may be selected into a course. If it is computer science, let's say we talk about IIT-JEE, which is joint entrance exam for the various 23 IITs, then they will look at, okay, if you get all India rank 1 to 500, you're eligible for something like computer science, right? And in that also, if you have got rank between 1 to 100, you may get IT Mumbai, Hawaii, or IT Delhi, or IT Kharagpur. Now, this is basically trying to not select you. They're trying to fill their seats with the best of the institutions. It's not selecting of a good student only. It is also selecting of what is the best available in this crowd. So the point is that everyone is not getting an opportunity. So if you look at from a different perspective, when you look at overseas, they do not select the students this way. They have a general test. So we'll talk about that. Non-academic requirements is equally important to consider, which is the very important USP when you look at abroad. They just don't look at your scores. They just don't look at your previous 4 years scores, school scores, and the entrance test scores. They also look at much more than that, and we'll talk about it. So you have what is called the academic requirements. In academic, they're looking at your GPA, which is your percentage in class 12th, 11th, and what kind of stream and how well you have done in that. So they recognize, okay, if you have done CBSE, most of the universities today, at least the top 500 in the world, they know what is CBSE, they know what is ICC in India, and there's a lot of students who are applying from India to abroad, to US, and Canada. So you must have heard of things like Common Apps, which is the Common Application System, UCAS, which is for the UK application system for UK, Common Apps is for US, and then there are various tests which are required, which are standardized testing, we call ACT or SAT. So those are equally required. So test scores is SAT, ACT. Then you look at language, competence. So you look at PTE, or you look at TOEFL, or you look at IELTS, as far as if you're going to an English speaking course in an English speaking country. But when you go at abroad and studying in a, let's say, in a public university, which is a government university in a non-English speaking country, like let's say if we talk about Germany and France, they will look at your language capability. At the same time, how well do you know that, so that you can apply for a course within the English speaking or the non-English speaking, which is the German speaking or French speaking or their language, because that's where they are able to attract the right talent. Coursework, yes, depending on the program, students may need to have completed specific prerequisite courses, like which is it's something like highly illustrated way of giving your experience into that particular domain. So these are a few things as far as academic requirements are concerned. Non-academic requirements, we are talking about language proficiency. Yes. So stronger the language skills, either in local language of the host country, we just spoke about it, and this demonstrate the students ability to effectively communicate. तो जैसे बताया कि आपको English मालूम है, fine, but then if you do not know German, then how will you gel with them? You know, when you go out and you want to buy a train ticket, you want to buy a flight ticket, or you want to buy grocery, you want to settle down your pay your rent. I mean, you have to talk to people, right? Socialize with people and understand ये चीज़ कहाँ मिलती है, वो कहाँ, so you should know the language. And if you know the language, then you start loving the country. See, you are in a uh, country which is definitely not, it may be in G20, it may be has a still not a permanent seat in UN, but then ultimately India is India. It is not as developed in the top 10 economies of the world by far, any parameter that you may see. And I'm not trying to diminish the value which has happened in India after the independence, but what I'm trying to tell you here is that countries like Japan, US, um, Canada, Germany, France, UK, these all countries have gone beyond the normal treatment to their own citizens. They have gone beyond the normal expectations that you. That means they have gone beyond the basic hierarchy, the Maslow's hierarchy of balance and need. So why I'm telling you is this, because when they're looking at non-academic requirements, they're looking at an overall holistic development of the student who is going to be with them in their education system. तो एक्स्ट्रा करिकुलर इन्वॉल्वमेंट इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। दे लुक कि बच्चा बात कैसे करता है, हाउ डज ही प्रेजेंट हिमसेल्फ। एकेडमिक तो दिख रहा है 95% है, 90% है, 80% है, वट एवर इट इज, बट एक्स्ट्रा करिकुलर में how far he is good. So let's say, can he debate, can he argue, can he really put up his point, can he really accept if we are trying to critique him, or can we make it a point to ensure that he has enough tolerance about our non-tolerance about him. These are features they're just trying to test out on the child. So such as student orgs, volunteer work, internships, these are a few things. They also want to see that how much you have done beyond the school system. Have you really done any internships, apprenticeships? Have you done any activities beyond that? Then please let us know. Personal statement, which is called the statement of purpose, or it is also an application essays. one of the very, very important documents when we apply overseas to any college. So we're talking about a well-crafted personal statement or essay. It can be crucial component of the application. So in this, basically, this essays, every university has got a different way of putting up and answering the questions. Ultimately, it's called the application essays. You have certain questions, and they are trying to know like why you want to come to our country and study. Uh, why do you think if you want to do astrophysics in Germany, and how do you think you are going to complete, kind of contributed well, right? And they are also looking at trying to see that questions like what major achievements do you see in this field for which you may be eligible for this kind of a seat in our university? Or it could be as simple as a question, how much do have you researched and done a unique work which can be said that this is an international, this comes under international recognition? They just want to see two things. One, have you done that much of effort? Okay. And second is, do you really see yourself as a competent student? That is the confidence that they're seeing you. You may not have done many things, but are you really interested in that domain, in that subject? You have to explain it in the language, in English, of course, but then you have to explain it. एंड देन यू हैव टू, मतलब उसको बड़े अच्छे से आपको लिखना है कि आपका इंटरेस्ट इस चीज में क्यों है और किस लेवल तक है. So that is about the academic and non-academic requirements. Now, let's go to the next, which is about the application for scholarships. Give me a moment. I'm just putting this presentation. So till here, do we have any questions about the basic criteria for studying abroad and the kind of eligibility questions? Do we have any questions here till now? Anyone? No? Any student, if he has a question, they can just unmute themselves and talk. Okay, there is a question. Okay, no, sir. Okay, PS has written. And no, what's your full name? But you've written PS, so I'm just calling you PS. So thank you. If you don't have any question, and let's go forward. If anyone has a question anytime, and if they pop up that question, they can do that on the chat window, right? So let's go forward and see as to how we are. Okay. So applying for scholarships abroad. So when you're applying for scholarships in universities abroad, you should be knowing that what kind of scholarships are generally available in that university, and to what extent have they in the history given scholarships to students who are international students. So as it is written, it is important to research on various scholarships opportunities and craft a compelling application. Now, when we say a compelling application, because yesterday we were talking to 11th and 12th class students, and we told them there are various types of scholarships that are generally available with big universities. Okay, so of course, one is, of course, talking about your merit-based scholarships, which is basically more on the academic merit that you've earned or that you have recently achieved. And the other is the need-based scholarship. So need is based on financial need. So you may not be Your parents may not be really completely satisfying the needs of paying the fee, and because the fees is expensive for international students, especially when we talk about UK or Australia or US, of course, and Canada, then how to apply for those kind of scholarships. And knowing that probably if you are going to be eligible, and you know that probably you may have chance, so all that is evaluated well by a good counselor if they have done such applications before. Now, researching, which is the most important part, which is right on the screen right now. So, identifying your profile. So, understand your academic strengths. Okay. So, what are your strengths? What are your interests? And what are the financial need to find scholarships that align with your profile? So maybe you have very good at maths and physics, but at the same time you feel that I need to research on maths because I love it. That is your interest and your strengths, that you can work on any kind of mathematical problem, or you can identify the problem in a situation, a math situation, a maths problem. And finally, you feel that if you're financed, I mean, if you're given a scholarship, you may be able to not just study this course, but also do masters and PhD with that university, and that can be put up in the application if you're really serious about it. And they find ways to even figure out how serious you are. Then explore certain databases like online scholarships which are there. So there are a lot of ways of finding out what is provided by the university, what is provided by the alumni of the university, what is provided by the various industry associations which are there in that particular course, in one particular course for under that university. There's a question which has popped up. Sir, I have cleared my 12th. Sia is asking this question, so all of you to focus here. See, sir, I have cleared my 12th with 88% in PCBME and 91 in PCB, and now if we have no internship or done any kind of community service, then are we still eligible for scholarships abroad? Yes, definitely you are eligible for scholarships, but whether you will get it or not, that all depends on the quota, on the kind of scholarship that they have already given, and the timeline to which they apply. So there are various timelines. There's early decision, there is early entry. So there are various ways in which the universities, particularly in US, they grant the scholarship, they give the scholarship. So, but as far as eligibility is concerned, anyone with 70%, anyone with 90% can apply for scholarships. It depends what kind of scholarship you're applying for and to what level you are expecting them to pay off. You may just apply for your 20% of scholarship. You may not apply for 100% always. So, they are very open to take up the application that way. आपको अगर मालूम है कि मुझे 20 lakhs की फीस पर ईयर पे करनी है, पर सेमेस्टर पे करनी है, और 20 lakhs पर सेमेस्टर मीन्स 40 lakhs पर ईयर हो गया, और आपको लगता है पेरेंट्स केवल 20 lakhs ही अफोर्ड कर सकते हैं, तो यू मे आस्क फॉर ओनली 50% ऑफ योर स्कॉलरशिप, राइट? सो वो 50% में भी आप कैसे जस्टिफाई करते हो कि सर 50% में 20 lakhs मुझे स्कॉलरशिप चाहिए? वो मुझे आप एटलीस्ट अलाउ मी टू गिव 10 lakh rupees as grant or subsidy, and 10 lakhs probably you can allow me to work for so many hours so that I can repay back something like that. If the course allows, and if it is written in that there is a co-op option. So co-op is that option in which certain courses allow you to work also within the campus for about 15 to 20 hours every week. But every campus does not allow for every course student to go for a co-op work, because some courses are really very tough. So they do not want students to work and earn. But as a good student, they may find that okay, if the student is really good, we may allow him to kind of work and at least gain scholarship. So, or maybe he gets a assistantship with a professor and then start getting some kind of a help from that particular professor, and then helping the professor will pay him certain money so that he can fund his fees. So ways and means you have to figure it out on your own. So also, is there any scholarship available for MBBS abroad? No, there are no scholarships for MBBS abroad generally. MBBS, when you're doing, that is called a course in India. When you go abroad, you have to go for a medical system. Don't apply to US, Canada, because they have a very different way of making the medical system there. Looking at the school credits that they may recognize for you, your medical equivalent to MBBS probably will complete in almost like 7 years, especially when it comes to US and Canada. But we talk about the other courses, then let's say law, or we talking about accounting and auditing and taxation, then there may be again you have to look at their law principles, accounting principles and accounting systems that are being followed. So um, as an MBBS student, if you are going, I mean, as a medical student, you want to pursue, go to other countries where it is not lengthening your process of studying and gaining a degree. Then last is reaching out to institutions. So of course, you have to reach out to universities through an online mode and figuring out to inquire about what kind of scholarships generally do they offer. So, okay. Sorry for this. So how you craft a winning application. So and we are talking about scholarships. So personal statement, which is the application essays, these this is important. There is something called an LOR, which is letter of recommendation, and finally each and every detail or the sub questions and questions that are asked, which is they should be answered very uh, completely and in full meaning. So, crafting a compelling personal statement that highlights your academic achievements, extracurricular involvement, and future goals and interests is very critical. Letter of recommendation, you will gain the letter of recommendation from your school head of departments, your school principal, your school academic head. वो फिर बना के देंगे what is called a letter of recommendation in your name, but directly to the university for that particular head of department who is heading the program in that particular university. So, for example, आपको LOR चाहिए. Let's say you are supposed to take the LOR from at least two big professors. Then those professors of school may be from your physics head of department and maybe from maths head of department, and those will write about how much, let's say one ex student, let's say Rajat Kapoor has done, what kind of projects has he done, how was he as a student, how much interest he had in physics, and how I can recall, means the professor can recall as a कि इसने कितने कितने अच्छे साइंस प्रोजेक्ट्स किए या एक्टिविटीज में पार्टिसिपेट किया, so that he can tell the university that this is a very compelling application. He is a very good student, and I recommend him to be a part of your university as a student in astrophysics or astronomy, aeronautical engineering, whatever it is. Right. So now let's take this forward to the next presentation. Any questions? Please put it on the chat window, or you can ask me. Just give me a moment when I. So let's talk about how study in India and studying overseas could be. I'm not really making a very apple to apple comparison, which is just not possible. But at the same time, we need to know that what are the pros and cons of studying in India versus studying overseas. So, as it written, that both options offer unique advantages and challenges. And the choice ultimately depends on the individual's goals, interests, and circumstances. When I say circumstances, is your financial support that you're getting, your overall mindset and the family support that you're getting, the morale that you're getting, your own goals and your interests to be in that country. आपको पढ़ना ही है और फिर वहाँ पे करियर करना है, आपको पढ़ के वापस आना है। ये सारी चीजें जरूरी होती हैं टू डिस्कस with yourself and with your parents. So let's talk about it. So advantages of studying in India. So of course, when you study in India, any course, you're mostly finding it that it's very cost effective. Cultural immersion is very fast because you come with a certain cultural set. You're very comfortable in that. You know कि theoretical importance India में ज़्यादा दी जाती है. Irrespective of any course, any university, if you go here, most of them you'll find that this is how it goes. Strong academic reputation is what matters. So because you know that India is having a lot of renowned popular universities and research institutions that offer high quality education, and you know the likes of IITs and the other top institutions like IIMs, and when you look, and we're just not talking about here about the grad level, we're also talking about post grad level and beyond that. Ultimately, the decision to study abroad remains same at every level. So many Indian universities have established strong reputations, but the point is, still, if you look at the overall perception of a parent about sending his child, even मेरा बच्चा तो बहुत होशियार है, then why is he not getting a very good institution overseas? There must be wrong something with the university, or maybe the counselor is not telling me that. But they mostly fail to accept this, that my child is good, but then the competence also matters. And when I say competence is in terms of selection, they may be not more than 7 to maximum 10% of selection of the overall seats that they may offer under that course in that university. मान लीजिए उस यूनिवर्सिटी में उन्होंने 500 बच्चे कंप्यूटर साइंस में लेने हैं, कंप्यूटर इंजीनियरिंग में लेने हैं, तो उसके पास 50 बच्चे वो इंटरनेशनल स्टूडेंट्स लेंगे. उस 50 में से दे हैव गॉट एन नंबर ऑफ कंट्रीज, दे हैव कंट्रीज अप्लाइंग, स्टूडेंट्स अप्लाइंग फ्रॉम जापान, स्टूडेंट्स अप्लाइंग फ्रॉम चाइना and India and UK and so on and so on, so on and so forth. सब जगह अच्छा बच्चा है, उसमें से कौन सा बच्चा वो सिलेक्ट करें, इट इज देयर चॉइस. Likewise, it is your choice also कि नहीं मुझे इस यूनिवर्सिटी में करना. But why do you think you are eligible for that? Then you have to look at the history, that how they have accepted students, on what criteria they've accepted. So that's why strong academic reputation, cultural immersion is very important, because as it is written, diverse traditions and vibrant communities. Now this exposure can broaden than perspectives. Cost effective, very very important. इंडिया में क्या है कि एडवांटेजेस हैं, cost effectiveness के बहुत advantages. For an IIT, you can do it probably just in about less than 4 lakhs, less than 2.5 lakhs probably in a year in IIT, 1 year. But just imagine a like of that in US, which is probably, let's say, Caltech. You're talking about University of British Columbia in Canada, University of Melbourne in Australia. Oh my God. They are talking about fees anywhere between 30 to 35 lakhs to about 50, 60 lakhs per year. And this, I'm just talking about the tuition fees. What about the rest of the fees, the lodging and boarding? So it's damn expensive, right? So even if your parents are very rich, they have enough money, they have enough savings for you. But ये जरूरी है that you have to look at कि what is my investment going to be for the next 4 years of time, investment of money, investment of my effort, investment of my sacrifice, that I am leaving everything here of my comfort level and unlearning and learning there. All this is very important क्योंकि आपको finally ये decide करना है कि is it really going to affect you positively or not. Then comes the advantages of studying overseas. So we look at global exposure, we look at access to advanced resources, we look at career prospects. Global exposure, very, very important, because you can't say that if I'm not going out, so I'm not getting enough exposure. You are getting so much so exposure globally because you are getting, first of all, an international classroom. When we say international classroom, means you have got getting students from at least 8 to 10 countries studying in the under the same roof, and they're studying the same course. So their way of learning and unlearning and making a project assignments is very different. That's where you learn very fast. Second is your access to advanced resources, because you're going to a university which is much more advanced in terms of its academic infrastructure, in terms of its overall, treatment of projects and facilities which are there. For example, there are like real-time projects happening, especially when it comes to science related or maths related topics. So these are important, uh, you can say, ways in which a student imbibes the learning process. The pedagogy changes for the university to ensure that you gain the best out of them, and that's where they announce themselves as one of the leading universities in R&D, or one of the leading universities and maximum number of patents, leading university in terms of bringing out the maximum placement under this segment and like that. Then comes the career prospects. Of course, an overseas degree can often and open doors for many good employment opportunities outside. But you expect कि नहीं, मैं MIT या good university से पढ़ के आया हूँ बाहर से, and then you expecting them to be recognized in India, may not be that kind of a scenario, because in India people are still very stereotyped in terms of the organizations and saying, okay, MIT, so what? Can you do this? Can you work on the floor? Can you work on the shop floor? Can you really be on the conveyor belt, on the line, on the machine line, and do something? You may not be, because you have worked in a very different university and a different setup. So don't expect cross cultural happening every 4 to 5 years in your career. This is very critical, this is very sensitive. आपको बहुत ही ध्यान से डिसीजन लेना है कि मैं अगर बाहर पढ़ने जा रहा हूँ तो मैं बाहर से थोड़ा सीख के भी आऊँ, पहले कुछ काम करके आऊँ, and then I can see that what I can come back to my country and do, if you're really looking at that. So these were a few advantages and of studying overseas. And any questions here? Anyone? Till I make the next presentation on. If you have any questions, please put it on the chat window. Next, what we are going to take up is just an overview about the countries offering study programs. Any questions, please? Okay, so countries offering study programs for Indian students, when I say that, so you have a lot of countries which are offering you study programs. So you just come out of India, you have China right on above. There's offering excellent programs when it comes to medicine and chemical and pharmaceutical. Um a lot of research happening, and you can talk about China, Hong Kong, we can talk about Singapore, we can talk about Australia, New Zealand. Excellent universities you have there. Then you go to US and Canada, the North American universities. There's some one of the best universities which are there in the United States, in the Canada, in the country like Canada. If you go to Europe, you have countries like UK, of course, which is a very old hand in accepting student applications coming from India. Then, when we comes to free education, you can count on countries like Germany. It gives you free education at the grad level if you have a certain decent percentage of almost like 80% plus, and with no compartment and with no backlogs, then probably you can get a completely tuition fee free, that is no tuition fee to be asked by you when it comes to Germany. So you have countries like that. So broadly, if you see at North America, Europe, Asia, you have a lot of countries that are offering study programs. Now, So top destinations, yes, you can count based on the number of applications and the number of acceptance in those universities or countries, or mostly in terms of students opting for certain courses where they have been not just studying but also settling down there. So US, Canada, UK have been the first few choices for the last, let's say, 20 to 30 years. Applications have increased at least about 5 to 7% every year, and this has mostly, led to believe that there is it's not about affordability always to go to US or Canada. It's also about the kind of quality of R&D, that is research and development, which is taking there in those countries. And at the same time, it is also about the kind of career prospects. Like, for example, we were speaking yesterday, एक system होता है in US की, it's called STEM. Now, STEM visa is STEM stands for, by the way, is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So students who are falling in this category, that means they are applying to universities or applying to the programs that fall into these categories. The US has made a law which has been passed, and which says that if you apply in any of these STEM category, you are eligible to stay in our country for at least 3 years more after completing of the course. That means अगर आपने 4 years का बीटेक के लिए अप्लाई किया and if you get accepted, तो आप वहाँ 7 years तक रह सकते हैं. Now you can work there, you can study there, but you have to be under that STEM visa category. So this is something nice which the countries are promoting. You know why? One is their own selfish need, which is कि अगर अच्छा टैलेंट है तो हम उसे यहीं पे रोक के रखें. ओके, ये थोड़ा सा काउंटर इफेक्ट करता है हमारे करियर को इन टर्म्स ऑफ इफ यू रियली वांट टू कंट्रीब्यूट इन इंडिया. यू विल फील कि अच्छा यूएस इज ऑफरिंग मी, तो मैं यूएस ही चले जाता हूँ. But India mein IIT will not ask you. Will say, okay, we are IITs, come and join us. If you are eligible, we have a seat for you. If you can match to our expectations, we'll take you. And then there are companies which will easily accept because we are IITs. So they have already built up a kind of a identity for themselves. So you go into a different identity crisis. मैंने तो मान लीजिए आईआईटी से मैंने ग्रेड कर ली, अब मैं पोस्ट ग्रेड के लिए यूएस जा रहा हूँ. अब मुझे जॉब नहीं मिल रही, या मुझे जॉब मिल रही है तो अपने पसंद की नहीं मिल रही. सो यू नो व्हाई? बिकॉज इट हैपेंस, बिकॉज समटाइम्स वी फील कि हमारा आईआईटी को भी हमने वैल्यू नहीं दी, उसके बाद हमने कुछ किया नहीं इन टर्म्स ऑफ इंडस्ट्री एक्सपीरियंस. एंड देन फिर हम बाहर चले गए, बाहर को इंडिया में रिकॉग्नाइज नहीं किया जा रहा है, एंड यू आर एक्सपेक्टिंग टू गेट अ जॉब इन इंडिया. सो यू हैव टू बी अ लिटिल मोर kind of sync to this fact. If you have taken something, first utilize it and squeeze all its value into your system. So next is about, we are talking factors to consider when choosing a study destination. So that is called, what I call as destination counseling. So destination counseling is very, very important. Um, let's say academic reputation, very important for that particular university. Global and global ranking of university. There is something called, uh, uh, THE ranking, which is Times Higher Education. There's QS ranking, Berkeley Salmon's ranking, and there are many more rankings which are available. The basis on which there's US rankings, which all of you can find. So US rankings gives you a ranking of the university overall in the world and the ranking of that particular university in US. Then the cost of living is very important. कि cost of living कैसे पड़ेगा उसका per month and so forth for per year. So every country has its own rules of ensuring that how will you take care of yourself. So even if you go on a very good, let's say, university program, which is in, let's say, in US, you still have to sign up for what is called a blocked account status. What is a blocked account status? Which is basically reflecting the point of cost of living कि आपको वहां पे आके आपके रहने खाने पीने के लिए आपको इधर उधर भटकना नहीं है, आपको लोन नहीं लेना है, अपने कोर्स पे ध्यान देना है. सो दे वांट, जैसे यूएस में अराउंड 12 to 15 lakhs per year is what is required as a blocked account status per individual. कि आप वहां पे आके कोर्स करने आ रहे हो तो आपके पास महीने के लाख से लाख रुपए खर्च करने के लिए होने चाहिए. so that you can continue doing this course. Otherwise, you are kind of a burden to our economy. This is how they treat you. So don't take it so easy and lightly when we look at these universities. कि अरे wow, we are getting into very good university. वो बहुत अच्छा कर रहे हैं आपके लिए. They are first securing themselves, then they are securing you. They are first concerned about whether you are eligible and you have that much of deep pockets to pay the fees or not. अगर आपके पास पैसा ही नहीं है, so they may not like to take you, by the way, unless you are so very good that they can offer you scholarship even for your lodging. Right? So ब्लॉक्ड अकाउंट स्टेटस बेसिकली सेज कि बॉस मेरी कंट्री में आ रहे हो, पढ़ोगे और केवल पढ़ोगे और हमारी कंट्री में कंट्रीब्यूट करोगे. एंड दैट्स व्हाई दे एक्सपेक्ट यू टू हैव अ ब्लॉक्ड अकाउंट स्टेटस, ताकि आप यहाँ पे आके कोई गंदे क्राइम में ना करने लगो. यू आर नॉट स्टार्टिंग कमिंग हियर एंड बेगिंग हियर और गेटिंग इनटू डिफरेंट activities which is not education. So that's why you go on a very restricted visa rules and visa status. Student support very important. So you have to look for institutions that offer comprehensive international student support. Very very critical. Getting attached to, first of all, to students of your own communities and like that. Then post study work options. So as I told you, like post study, like STEM category was that. So post study work options available country offer करती है या नहीं करती है. So like if I speak to you about Singapore, it is allowing you because वहाँ पे industry placements are already decided. So they have very good tie-ups to the industries. Same with Hong Kong, and universities are accepting all, means they have got 100% placement, possible. So definitely not a problem. So that's all about when it comes to choosing the kind of uh, uh, the destination we are talking about when it comes to study abroad. Any questions here before we go on to the next? Anyone has a question? No? No questions at all? No clarifications? No doubt? Nothing at all? So, okay. So, when I talk about universities which are offering you good courses which are totally academic oriented, that means they are only providing study programs. Um, that is one way to look at it. The other is, which we were talking to students yesterday and day before also, to 9th, 10th, and then yesterday to 11th, 12th. There are certain vocational programs, vocational colleges that help you to learn the skill which is required in a particular vocation, and at the same time give you a theoretical input of it. So it's like a 70% technical skilling. I mean, that is completing projects as assignments with respect to doing the completing your theoretical part of it. So there is a system of what is called co-op, which I just told you, which is there in US and Canada and Australia and New Zealand. But there is something very unique which is available in countries like some countries. They work on what is called the Erasmus program. Um, they also call it vocational education and training. In Germany, particularly, they call it dual vocational education and training. And I'm going to talk about it right now in a little focused manner for all of you to understand that how does it work. Broadly, first, let me, kind of explain you as to what does study and work program in universities, what does it mean, all right? So just allow me to present it before you. So there is a understanding that you need to develop, and in fact also for your parents, and also to kind of know well as to whether will I be able to do something as blended as a study plus work program when we talk about how well it can. So first, let's have a kind of a quick overview as to what does a study plus work program means in a broader sense. So, and right now I'm not just talking about Germany. Just few slides are there which are going to just tell you as to how this works as a mindset. How does it you need to prepare yourself before you get into something like study and work programs abroad. So all of you, if you can see this slide, it says that studying and working abroad can be transformative, that opens up a world of opportunities. But by combining academic pursuits with practical work experience, students can develop a well rounded skill set and gain a deeper understanding of different cultures and perspectives. Now, these programs offer a unique chance to immerse oneself in a new environment, build valuable professional connections, and stand out in a competitive job market. Very good to say. I mean, this is a very simple way to understand, but how does it, I mean, what are the benefits of combining? So कई बार हमें फील होता है ना कि मैं पढ़ाई में बहुत अच्छा नहीं हूँ, या मुझे पढ़ाई हमेशा करना अच्छा नहीं लगता. I need some practical thing to do along with it so that I can learn well. And that's how, like today's age schools for last 5-10 years, I have been seeing they call it experiential learning in schools, and they're talking about A for apple. So then when they're telling about A, so how does A is written, and that how apple looks like. So why only they're related to an apple, you know. So they're trying to tell you that apple is something which is very common and you should have it every day. At the same time, you're telling everything starts with A, and so they're trying to relate some kind of a experience that this particular object may have with this kind of a subject which is called alphabets. Same way, if you look at practical experience, if you're talking about hands-on experience, hands-on work experience kisko bolte hain? So like yesterday we were discussing with 11th and 12th class students that whenever you have breaks, you should look at any time between 9th to 10th or 10th to 11th or 11th to 12th in the breaks, you should look at taking up internships and apprenticeships. Why? Because it gives you a little bit of exposure on how the real industry is going to kind of give you a reflection of work that you may do in a full-time work. Plus it gives you an opportunity to know that how whatever you have studied, how much will it be valued, or how much it can be accepted as a knowledge in the actual industry. So students have the chance to apply their classroom knowledge in a real world setting. So developing in crucial soft skills is also equally a very important factor into it, like adaptability, problem solving, and all that. Then comes the cultural immersion. So living and working abroad immerses students in a new culture, allowing them to gain a deeper understanding of the local customs, language. Professional networking, very, very, very important that you come to know about, like what kind of hierarchy is there, what kind of people are doing what kind of roles, and if I have a connect, I can go back to them and seek professional advice, and also seek kind of help into gaining commercial orders, things like that. So exactly what I was talking about and yesterday and today: internships, apprenticeships, co-op programs, exchange programs. Broadly, these are ways of doing something while you are in the school, while you are even gone to a college. You can work like that, where there are universities who offer you कि आप इतने दिनों के लिए पर मंथ में वो स्कूल आइए, बाकी टाइम आप इंडस्ट्री में जाके कोई प्रोजेक्ट करें. When they mean, what they mean is कि प्रोजेक्ट कीजिए मीन्स जाके वर्क कीजिए वहां पे, समझिए कि उसकी एक्सेप्टेंस कितनी है, उसमें आप कितना पढ़ सकते हैं, उसमें कितना काम कर सकते हैं, किस टाइप का वर्क जनरेट कर सकते हैं, हाउ न्यू आइडियाज कैन इनक्यूबेट न्यू बिजनेस, new business levels. So apprenticeships is one very critical thing which I am going to focus now on the next few slides. It's going to combine on the on-job training with classroom instruction, providing a structured pathway for students to develop specialized skills and gain practical experience. Now, exchange programs, some universities have this exchange programs कि आप let's say IIT में पढ़ रहे हैं या any other let's say NIT Bangalore में पढ़ रहे हैं and finally you're studying in let's say some university in Hong Kong. Then some students from the same department will go to this university, some students from this university will go to this department, and they will do a cross study for at least about 3 to 4 weeks, and then develop a kind of a framework of what we can do further in this particular area as far as the research is concerned, and then come back and publish papers and developing new ideas and incubate those new ideas into business concepts. So exchange programs are broadly meant to improve your academic and to do your academic enrichment. मतलब आप अपने आप को एक academically evolve करते हो, and second you want to create new working opportunity, new working ideas, new business models out of exchange this programs. Co-ops is basically university degree program, but you are trying to do something along with it that is a little bit of work. So co-op enables students to gain significant hands-on experience. Now, this co-op may not be always in the same domain as segment or subject जिसमें आप पढ़ाई कर रहे हो, but then it may be related, it may not be. Like you may be studying in a university in Australia, and Australia generally has many all the programs often gives you a co-op program. But when you look at the co-op, in a sense, in Australia, you may be working in a post office, you may be working in a McDonald's or a Burger King, and you may be working in a petrol pump, or you may be working in a campus library. So idea is that while you're working, you're gaining some money, which is supporting your financial needs. But at the same time, it is also giving you some exposure of that cultural diversity and everything, and immersing into and integrating with their culture. So that's about the basic thing, which is about the and how to apply for a study and work program. Of course, as we have already discussed this, that you have to research who is providing what kind of programs in the co-op segment. You have to gather the documents because your visa status will state very clearly that you're coming for a co-op program. That means you will be working for certain number of restricted number of hours in a week, and so for a month. So ये सारी चीज important होती है, then your application, and of course you're securing the funding. So that's about the background or the base about studying and work abroad. Any questions here before I touch upon one of the very important um, focus discussion today, after we have discussed so many things about the study abroad, is about study and work program in Germany, which is called the dual vocational education and training in Germany. So does anyone has a question or needs a clarification, can just write up on the chat window, or can even just unmute and open your video and then talk to me. Anyone? Okay, so I'll just opening up my last presentation slide, which is going to be on the dual vocational education training. Just a minute. Okay, I've got a comment here which has come from Arzu. Sir, you had given us clarity in a very simple way. Okay, I don't know whether to take it as as a compliment or as a feedback, which is so. Arzu, can you clarify? Is it good, or do you wanted it in a more detailed or a little more data-driven way? Are you okay with this? Oh, compliment. Okay, thank you so much. So, thank you, Arzu, for this. Now, let me take up something very interesting, which is available today in Europe and in particularly in Germany. And I will put this through not through presentation, but this is through a document, but showing you as a which I have made it just for this particular session. I'm sure all of you can see the screen, right? So what are the key components? So dual vocational education and training is what we are talking about. Arzu, thanks a lot, Arzu. Dual vocational education training in Germany is a very, very popular program, which broadly and very simply says that if you are a 12th pass student, if you can learn German language for the next 8 to 10 months after your 12th, and you can gain the language certification, then we allow you to come on what is called the skilled immigrant visa, and you can study and work together in our country absolutely without paying any tuition fees. The entire cost of this program of 3 or 3.5 years is not going to be more than 6 to 7 lakhs. 6 to 7 lakhs entirely for 3 years. Now, the USP of this program, which is mind boggling, is that during those 3 to 4 years, you will 3 to 3.5 years, you will be also paid minimum of about 850 euros per month just to take care of your lodging and board. And this is a dual diploma. They also call it dual degree, but broadly in their system, they call it a diploma because it's an industrial diploma. And they accept students right from the best part is one USP is that they're going to pay you every month for the next 3 years. The second is that you will get 2 degrees, 2 diplomas, one from the employer who is training you, and one from the vocational college from where you are doing the vocational training, the school, the vocational school. And the third most important part is that in during those 3 years, you do not have to do anything extra just to gain this and get an employment because you're already under a vocational training. That means you need not do a degree to get accepted into a company in Germany. You can simply by doing this vocational education training and the end of 3rd years, they will interview you for a full-time role and accept you. Isn't it exciting? Don't you feel? 50% is all that you require minimum as eligibility. Plus you are a 12 plus student, nothing else. What they need as a skilling eligibility is that you should be very good in their language. Now, how many of you feel if you can quickly write on your chat window, is it exciting? Is it excellent? Is it so super easy for you to achieve? +2 चाहिए, 50% marks minimum होने चाहिए, German language learn करनी है, to be in their country for the next 3 to 3.5 years at a cost of just 6 to 7 lakhs for the entire 3 years, which includes everything. And plus they're going to plus one two diploma. They have a guarantee of giving you a job after 3 years. How exciting do you feel? Please write to me on the chat window, each one of you. How much out of 10 would you like to rate it? Now I'm taking the presentation on this one-on-one. So who participates in dual vet? So you're talking about students, there are companies, there's vocational schools, the Chamber of Commerce, and the government regulatory bodies. These are all the stakeholders in this particular system. Students get enrolled. They have their first choice as German citizens. They have got the second choice to take students from the European Union because they are in Europe. But they have the last choice. But again, a very important choice is that they can go international and take the student from anywhere. So students can come from any corner of the world. Companies will select them. Here, university is not the selection criteria. Companies will select them. Vocational schools, they have a back-to-back tie-up with the employer. Chamber of Commerce gives the authority to the company to choose so many vacancies to be filled by international students, and they will approve your visa. And finally, the government regulatory bodies, that this has to be run in this model. So it's a very fair recruitment policy that अगर आप student को बुला रहे हो तो you can't ask for a fee. That means the companies and the vocational colleges cannot ask for a fee because this is a government program, right? Now, the collaborative efforts of these stakeholders with their distinct roles are the foundation of the dual vocational education training model. What are the key components? Can we go for this after class 12th? Exactly, I'm talking about आरजू 12th only. So after 12th आप जा सकते हो, but आपको 12th के बाद पहले language सीखनी है. So एक साल आपको यहाँ spend करना पड़ेगा because about 8 to 9 or maximum 10 months you will just spend on learning the German language, getting it certified in the German language till the level B1 or B2 level. There are these two levels are important. And उसके बाद your paperwork, your interviews, and then you fly. So if you talk about right now, if you enroll this month, you can complete your language by around March or April, sit for interviews, and finally fly for the next September intake. That is the September 2025 intake. So to answer your question in simple, yes, you can go after 12th class. So vocational schools will provide you 30% of the entire time that you will devote there. एक हफ्ते में आप 5 दिन में से 4 दिन आप एम्प्लॉयर के पास जाओगे, डू दी वोकेशनल ट्रेनिंग देयर. लेट्स से वी टॉक अबाउट प्रोग्राम्स लाइक mechatronics technician, electronics technician, electrical technician, air conditioning technician. Now these people, civil, that is construction technician. Now you will become something like that even if you have a 50% or a 55 or a 60%. Now that's a good part of it. No entrance test, there is no minimum required score. You just have the willingness to learn the language well, and you have the passion to settle in Germany. These are the two major things that they're looking at. Nothing else, believe me, nothing else. If you can showcase that in your initial interviews, which will happen, and the later interviews, that is all that they need. And if you talk about roles, there are roles in hospitality, hotel management, culinary arts, system gastronomy उसको बोलते हैं जो quick service restaurant होता है, like the Burger King, Subway, Taco Bell, McDonald's, and all that. And then you have non-technical fields like this. Then like the hospitality and system gastronomy, you have then in the healthcare segment you have nursing, then you have geriatric nursing, then you have physiotherapy, medical assistant, dental assistant. Then you have I mean, these are very unlike normal university programs, but these are like direct industry integrated programs because they know the roles. इसमें हमें requirement है, so they are taking people, international people, directly into the system by training them and giving them the required theoretical input, and then finally giving them a job. So जो students को लगता है कि मुझे अब बहुत ज्यादा पढ़ाई नहीं करनी या मुझे केवल पढ़ाई नहीं करनी, अब मुझे बस सेटल होना है by doing the best of the roles but learning it well practically, so this is the thing for you. But अगर आपको केवल पढ़ाई करनी है, बैचलर्स भी करना है, मास्टर्स भी करना है और करना है, and you want to invest only on education and not on the working side, which is the industry, then you may probably go for a university program best for you. So I hope I have been able to tell you about this. Going forward, it also tells about the company-based training, cooperative curriculum, because this curriculum is decided by the Chamber of Commerce of Germany, and labor market validation is there. And it is written in the last line, the seamless integration of the two components, that is theoretical and the practical, is the hallmark of the dual vocational education system. Like it's a key important value that is being attached to the system. So it is a very balanced approach as what they are looking at, because they are actually making the balance between the deficiency of people who are not there at the entry level jobs, and that's why they need people from outside. And what good it could be कि अगर आपको ये opportunity मिल जाए कि +2 के बाद एक country आपको invite करेगी मेरी country में आके work करो, बस मेरी language learn करके आ जाओ, मुझे तुम्हारे परसेंटेज से कोई मतलब नहीं, मुझे ये भी नहीं मतलब तुमने कितने ओलंपियाड्स लिखी थे, मुझे ये भी नहीं मालूम कि तुमने ह्यूमैनिटीज की थी या लिबरल आर्ट्स की थी या फिजिक्स की थी या केमिस्ट्री की थी या बायो की थी. वी आर नॉट कंसर्न, वी आर मोर कंसर्न Can you speak our language? And can you work and learn the way we will make you learn, and then study and kind of continue? Now, I will not get into this detail, but I'll get into a different brochure which I wanted to show to all of you, which is actually the interesting part for all of you to learn. So yes, so this is the brochure. All of you can see this. It says this is our program from Propel Overseas, which says that emphasis on dual structure, wide range of professions, comprehensive education, crucial part of training, and major fields is engineering related, manufacturing, IT, and health. Now, see what they're offering. Benefits, if you see, they are offering you, if you can see it well on the screen, and I have increased the size for you to see this. 850 to 1100 euros per month, which is almost going to be, if I talk about 850 euros, going to be about 75,000 rupees per month, is the stipend, which is your allowance. And this is for the first year. Second year, it will again increase by 50 to 100 euros. Third year, again, it's going to be increased by 50 to 100 euros. They will pay you because you are getting trained by them, and they do not want you to become a burden on their economy. So you do not take any loan or a further assistance from your parents. They will pay you. And if it is written on the right side top that they will give you a, on completing the 3 years of vocational training, you will get an opportunity to start working with them with a salary of minimum 2,500 euros, depending upon the trade which you have opted. That is per month. That is almost going to be 2.5 lakh rupees in Indian currency, because 1 euro is 92 rupees in Indian currency. So we are talking about an excellent job opportunity, and the kind of process and documents involved. It is very easy, as I've told you. It takes almost 10 months to 12 months to do the skilling part, certification, making your papers, and finally making you go abroad. And when I'm talking about is German. And the kind of fields that you want to get into, see the fields here. All of you can see the fields here. I've told you broadly, अगर आपको chemistry या physics में interest है, you can go to chemical and pharmaceutical industry, which is written right here. इसमें बहुत सारे ये fields हैं या positions हैं जो इसमें लिखे होते हैं, because the intake is not by the university, intake is by directly by the employer under the vocational program. If you want to get into engineering field, you have of course the option of IT. आप IT में जा सकते हो as a specialist if you are interested in the development or in the testing or into quality or into front end. Then you talk about mechatronics technician, you talk about electronics technician. You can work in industries as a mechatronics or electronics or electrical. In the aviation, you can work in the automobile. And you know the automobile industry, how advanced it is in Germany. You talk about Mercedes, Volkswagen, BMW, everything is from Germany. So you have got a lot of such big companies. You have got the other companies at the level 2 and level 3, equally very good paymasters, and they're ready to accept you. When you talk about non-technical, you have food processing industry, very advanced meat processing industry. You have got the system gastronomy, which I told you is refers to quick service restaurants and all that. And you have hospitality, hotel management, culinary arts, cooking, baking, everything comes under this. So little different way. Don't look at from the university में courses के नाम से अलग होते हैं, यहाँ पे positions के नाम होते हैं, but you are actually getting into this role specific training and then getting absorbed into the industry. And finally, the healthcare industry. So you have general nursing, you have geriatric nursing, and you have physiotherapy, you have medical assistant and all that. Entirely, this program will cost you about 6 to 7 lakhs, which includes your German language training, your German language certification till from A1, then A2 to B1, if required B2 also. Then second thing is the consulting fee, which Propel Overseas is going to charge you for the entire process. That is your initial interviews, having a conditional offer letter, then training you during the language, and then finally taking your language assessments, and finally taking it forward to making you into the employer round, that is employer interview, and finally giving you employer contract, which is the offer letter. And once you have that, you can apply. We will apply for your visa, and you will get the visa, and you'll go on an apprenticeship visa to Germany. And then this also includes your logistics cost, which is your flight ticket, your visa, your VFS appointment, and your medical um, insurance, and then your PCC police clearance certificate, and your translation of major documents. So all this is like a budgeted cost of about almost like 6 to 7 lakhs. So how many of you really want to get into something like this, which is also called in Germany, it is called an Ausbildung program. It's also called right. So, how many of you are interested? Put up your this thing consent on the chat window. How many of you would like to take a one-on-one session on this and like to explore more, or one-on-one session on the study abroad prospects? We can talk about it. So that is all from me now. If you have any questions, anything to ask, anything to clarify, anything that you want to deep down, we on a one-to-one, we can do that. Poonam ma'am will be glad to share my numbers and email IDs with all of you, and of course this presentation will also come to all of you so that you can prepare yourself and meet me with the questions that you may have around your finance, budgeting, and everything. Right? So um, can we first take up a few questions? It's already 5:23 on my window. Can we take any questions here? From there's so many students that I can see around. किसी के पास किसी भी type का doubt है, question, we can talk about it quickly. Whether it is country specific, whether it is program specific, whether it is scholarship specific, whether it is this program, Germany, or anything regarding study abroad. Anyone has a question? Any clarification? Any doubts?
क्वेश्चन पूछ लो.
Yes, China, I think you are trying to say something. Okay, I've got a question from on the chat window. PS, sorry, I'm just calling you PS because as a name it is only written. Sir, when to register for this course? Okay, talking about this last. So for this course, you can register anytime, and this is the month that you need to register for going for next year, September 2025. So you can get in touch with us at this number. Poonam ma'am, would you allow me to kind of share my contact details?
Sure, sir. Sure, you can, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. So you can see this. It's my contact details, my name, and my company name, that is Propel Overseas. You can go to propeloverseas.com. You'll find more details. You can get in touch with me on call or on a WhatsApp on this number, and we can talk about it. I hope that was enough, PS. Right now, ma'am has given all of you the feedback form as well. So thank you so much from my side and giving this opportunity to talk about study abroad. We can talk in detail on one-to-one and through my number and through my website on the chat window. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for such a wonderful session. It was really an insightful session. We would really love to join you for the more session with you in the future too. I request all the participants to fill up the feedback form to mark your attendance. Google Form link has been shared in the chat box. We will see you tomorrow at 4 p.m. for the day 6 of our career counseling session on the theme diving deeper into the study in USA. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Ritika, and thank you, team from El Maestro, to giving me this opportunity to speak before your students. I wish each and every student and counselor present here and the parent that they may do good research and analyze well before they meet the counselor so that they go well prepared and then finally make a good sound decision in order to make their career fruitful and meaningful at all times. Thank you so much.